Good day, mates. This is Toby the Dark Emperor here, and I'm here today to talk about my journey into Gundam so far. As you may know or may not know, well, obviously no one knows since I barely do any videos and my channel is obviously not that popular. But anyways, I started watching Gundam back in 2014. Around the time I had my second or third anime binge session. Yeah, I was only like a 14 to 15 year old kid. Yeah. So I started out with 00. I watched the first 2 to 3 episodes, but I couldn't get through that. So yeah, that happened. I essentially stopped watching it. Then a year later, in 2015, I tried to watch the first Mobile Suit Gundam anime. That is the one that's, I believe, set in the Universal Century timeline of 0079. Yeah, the very first one that came out in 1979. So, yeah, I was trying to watch that one. And yeah, well, I was actually interested in that one, but I just could not get through it because of so much stress at that time. Anyways, fast forward to 2018, and well, I started watching Iron-Blooded Orphans, which is probably the latest, anime series of the Gundam franchise. Besides movies and other ones, but well, there are other ones, of course, but I guess this is like the, one of the wrong ones. Anyways, I dived into that, and boy did I love it. Yes, there were surely some moments where, you kind of got annoyed at the characters. The plot seemed a bit to heat up at times, and the storyline may have not been perfect, but I think overall I enjoyed the series. It had its flaws, of course. Every anime has that, every series has that, every book has that. Everything will obviously have that. But anyways, overall, great series. I started loving Gundam. Then I dived into 00 again, continuing to watch that this time, of course. And boy, instantly, 00 became my favorite Gundam series of all time. Well, of course, this is considering the fact that I only had watched 2 Gundam series at that time. Yeah, Gundam 00 was, in my opinion, better than Iron-Blooded Orphans, but, at the same time, it's like, comparing apples to oranges. Why? Because Iron-Blooded Orphans' premise was not that similar to 00, because in Iron-Blooded Orphans, we're focusing on, like, a whole different timeline and a whole different, setting, I would say. Whereas in 00, it's more like, in the Anno Domini era, and, when it comes to Iron-Blooded Orphans, we're dealing with a bunch of orphans, and, the colonization of Mars, of course. In 00, it's like, the civilization is just going past, the space, the development of the orbital space center. Just past that. Not yet Mars, but, almost there. Anyway, 00, I love that. Next thing, I started watching Gundam Seed. Gundam Seed. And currently I'm actually watching that. Not a bad series at all. I mean, I was watching it back in, like, September after I, finished watching the entire 00 series. And, I watched till episode 30, but then, due to my school and all, I got busy and stuff, so stopped watching that. But, I continued watching it now, and I'm on, like, episode, I would say, 32, I believe. And, obviously I'm not going to spoil anything, but, I just want to, like, throw it out there, the significance of watching Gundam so far. I've not watched, I'm not, one of those fans who has been watching Gundam their entire life, or who's been watching Gundam since, like, the 80s, because obviously I was only born in the late 90s, and, well, I can only watch it just as much. So far, I did actually also watch some of the movies too. I mean, one of the latest series that came out from the Universal Century timeline, like, Mobile Suit Gundam, The Origin, and, Unicorn. I would watch, like, the first episode of Unicorn, the one that came out, like, recently, the format that came out recently, with, the 1 hour episodes. I know, like, previously there were, like, 22 episodes, but with each being 24 minutes, I know that one came out long ago, but this year, or, in 2018, the 1 hour format came out in English dub, I think. I'm not completely sure about that, but that's what I know so far. Origin, I've watched like 2 episodes so far, but I don't want to get too deep into it yet because I have yet to even start the Universal Century timeline, but you know, it piqued my interest. I had to. So that's that. So seeds so far, well, I would say, you know, I would just judge it based on what I saw in the first few episodes of 0079, and you know, there are some pretty similar concepts, pretty similar events. And I, you know, get that, of course, and from what I heard, Seed was supposed to be like a reboot of the original Gundam series. That's what I heard. That's what I, you know, read about as well. So I can see why it would be similar. However, at the same time, it's just, you know, it's just good in its own terms. I'm curious about watching other series as well, like, you know, Gundam Wing. I'm really curious about that because from what I heard, 00 was a reboot of Gundam Wing. Not in the literal sense, you know, as a figure of speech, I'd say. So that's that. Besides that, I think, you know, the significance of watching Gundam, I've been blabbing for about 6 minutes, saying that how I love the Gundam franchise and how, you know, this and that, chronological issues, and, you know, that's just that. But, you know, what's the significance of watching Gundam? I would say, you know, the political upheavals do have a meaning. They do have, you know, the allegories. They do have the metaphorical references and stuff. But, you know, I think what, you know, it addresses the issue of, like, what could you say? Like, you know, moral philosophy, ethics. It does address that a lot. You know, it does address the point of repetitive words going on and on like a cycle. I think there's that, but, you know, in order to understand Gundam, you know, even further, we do have to look at, like, the background, you know, beyond the sandwich that, you know, covers the entire fabric of the series. Because, for one, we're talking about work, but on the other hand, we're talking about understanding as well. We were talking about, you know, the empathy and compassion that, you know, connects the human race together, but, you know, separate what's the discord that actually separates it? Is it, you know, our common desires, our mutual desires, or is it, you know, just something else? That's kind of the mystery in Gundam, you know, and, you know, with each, you know, with the ending of each series, you know, you kind of don't get that answered. Almost never. You just get, you know, just get some vague answers like, it was because of understanding, we lacked understanding, and, you know, for example, in Iron-Blooded Orphans, I don't want to spoil it, but it has something to do with, I would say, the chaos theory, you know, chaos and order, something like that. So, what's my point? My point is that, in Gundam overall, you just can't really find an answer to end war. Well, that's just a harsh truth so far. I mean, I may sound like a philosophical wannabe, but that's kind of it so far. And, well, I will make an update to this video once I am, like, let's say, have watched at least 20 more Gundam series of movies, because I know this is like a vague insight coming from me. And, well, I'll accept criticism for that. Because I know for a fact that I'm not trying to be Mr. Right here, I'm just trying to, well, give my insight. Well, that's that, guys. I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope you enjoyed me blabbing for about almost 10 minutes. If you have, or well, have any or well, want me to do something else, you know, talk about something else, do leave a suggestion in the comments. I'll be, well, probably reviewing or not reviewing, you know, quote-unquote reviewing, as in, like, giving my insight, not literally reviewing. Anyways, that's that. I hope you have a wonderful day or night, and, well, stay tuned and subscribe to my channel if you're interested. If you're not, well, up to you. Adios.